Today is the 22nd of February 2021. Welcome to Good Morning Africa. Welcome to the Newspaper Review segment. My name is Kwame Owusu. So it's been an exciting weekend for me for a number of reasons which I'm not going to share with you. I know you want to know why I'm excited, but I'm never going to share that with you. It's personal. A number of issues definitely are still lingering on. We may, if they need be, touch on some of those issues. But for now, what is before me are some very important topics. First, we're going to be touching on an African story. Tanzania's president finally admits country has COVID-19 problem. Hey, Mogufuli. Hey! Accept election petition outcome. Justice Atuguba is advising Ghanaians to accept election petition outcome. Now lie, Ghanaians shoot down minister's 3 million job claims. Yehovah, Ghana's human resource base in danger as drug use among students increases. You know, before we came on, myself and Mr. Heneku were having a very important conversation. The fact that we focus our lenses on some issues to the neglect of other very important issues. And one of such is this, that we are so about some of the fundamental things that must drive, you know, the economy. And one of such is the fact that we've neglected our human resource base, which is, you know, the young people. And we're going to touch on that. Also, one other issue that is rather very disturbing is one that has got to do with the, I don't know whether I should say the proliferation of other media houses, which media houses are involved in money doubling and total numbers and all of that. And Mr. Eneku wants to expand it. I don't want to expand it. I'm sure he would like to expand the scope. So for now, for the purposes of my introduction, the scope is within the remit which I've put out. Mr. Eneku, good morning. And it's always a delight to see you. Yeah, you know, to tap into your fountain of expertise and knowledge. I'm excited to have you.
Thank you.
My brother.
Yeah, Kwame.
Hey, so you have not missed me?
I've missed you, but I've been seeing you trending on your Facebook page.
Yes, all right.
So I received a couple of calls whether you have a presidential ambition.
Hey, let me stay in my lane. Let me stay in my lane. Special good morning to a few of my friends who are watching. Honorable Minta Akando, good morning to you. Esle's boyfriend, good morning to you. Also, a special good morning to one of the most important people in my life, Alhaji Baba Seidu Isifu, good morning to you. A special good morning to Alhaji Kasule. Mr. Eneku has still not come to see you, I know. I'm sure he will. But regardless, he extends a hearty greetings to you this morning. And also to a brother, friend, comrade, Sami Ewuku. Good morning to you. I trust you are doing very well. And a number of, Chairman Wuntum Take, the KEA chairman for the NDC. Good morning to you. And to everybody who is in Elmina watching me this morning, a special good morning to you as well. And to the very many Ghanaians who have their eyes stuck on Pan-African television, I'm eternally and exceedingly grateful that you always make time to watch us on the morning show.
Such that he doesn't need his pay. So this is thrown out, and then we feed on it. Oh, he's a good guy. He's not collecting his pay. How is he eating? How is he looking after his family? It's the same thing this Tanzanian chap is doing. And we keep on praising him, etc., and then we lose focus and we are distracted. I don't think that he has done well for his country as far as this pandemic is concerned, because it is a fact that there's a pandemic, it's a fact that there's a disease, and it's a fact that we must fight it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eneku. Delali.
Good morning to your cherished viewers and good morning to Mr. Heneku. Kwame, I've read the story, and you know, the president of Tanzania, you know, for some time now he has exuded this high level of modesty. I mean, you know, people refer to him as a bit populist and, you know, engage in a lot of activities. There has been instances where even at church he tends to be an usher. engage their citizens when they are engaged in a cleanup exercise. And I think he has been loved by his country, his citizens, and a whole lot of things. But unfortunately, I'm actually looking at the timing of this particular statement. Relative to the fact that there's an admission that indeed the country is being confronted with a problem as far as the COVID-19 pandemic is concerned. But the question is, like I said, the timing. Why is he admitting that indeed the country has challenges as far as the COVID-19 is concerned? Is it because they've lost a vice president? Is it because his own chief secretary have died of COVID-19? So this is where I always have problems, especially when it comes to our part of the world. People normally appreciate the enormity of a particular problem when they are being hit so hard, when somebody closer to them have suffered the same fate. But when it has to do with the citizens, that level of commitment is not at play. In Tanzania, a country of a population of 60 million, there has been a lot of reported cases of people suffering from pneumonia, people exhibiting clear symptoms of COVID-19. But in all these instances, the only remedy that the president have advocated, which I wouldn't say it's wrong, is for the citizen to engage in prayers. But when eventually the vice president and the chief secretary to the president eventually succumb to the virus, the president have come to appreciate the fact that indeed there must be a different approach altogether. It doesn't help when it comes to the development of Africa as a continent. We always think about the fact that we only think about something being of needing urgent attention when in terms of proximity, people are hit, people closer to us. And that is not a way to deal with situations or to deal with a pandemic like COVID-19 that is ravaging the whole world. And that is a bit unfortunate because this is a president that some of us from afar we've come to admire because of his sense of modesty, because of his love for his country. But I think on this particular note, as far as COVID-19 is concerned, I think he hasn't really done so well. Like Mr. Heneku said, I think one of the things in Africa that we accept so easily is when people engage in populist, actions just to cover up certain misdeeds. Like Mr. Heneku alluded to. We live in this country where somebody just said, okay, fine, we need to praise somebody because he has not received salary for the 4-year period that he's been a minister. Like Mr. Heneku rightly put it. Do you know how many, activities that he has engaged in? Do you know how much he has profited from the Ejapa deal? How much he has profited from the PDS deal? How much he has profited by virtue of the fact that his organization has always been at the forefront when Ghana is going for a loan, the percentage of the commission that they're entitled to. So people are interested by virtue of the fact, he has not taken, let's say, 20,000 Ghana cedis or 15,000 Ghana cedis as a minister. By so doing, the person is raking in millions of Ghana cedis. But because of populist nature of what has characterized the African continent and limiting it to Ghana, it's about, I'm not taking salary. So people are not even looking at what the person is raking in the subtlety of not taking salary. And that is the same thing that I believe the Tanzanian president, when he admonished his countrymen that listen, stick to prayer, do fasting. That is the only way we intend to defeat what they call the virus. Meanwhile, he had no clue. He has never committed and dedicated himself to practical measures to be put in place in fighting the COVID-19. And the only time that the president came to his consciousness, came to the reality dawned on him that we must fight this disease head on, was when somebody closer to him, somebody who was part of his inner circle, became a victim of the COVID-19 when the vice president has succumbed to the virus. And I don't think that is the way to develop as a continent or even as a country. Every citizen life matters. It's only about those who are closer to us because we all have right to life. And that is why people have been elected to ensure that certain measures are being put in place to protect every citizen regardless of your social status, your economic status, your financial status, regardless of the family that you come from, which part of the country you come from. Every single life matters. And I am so disappointed with the president that in as much as his recent admonishment to his citizen is rather late, but there's a saying that better late than never. No. So that's what I want to say, Kwame.
Owusu, good morning. How are you?
I'm good.
Right. Right. What's your take on the first African story?
Well, Kwame, I think that it brings to the fore the kind of mentality that some of our leaders still have in this part of the world. To the extent that, in spite of all the statistics and the data available, all the evidence available, as regards the ravaging impact of COVID-19, you would have a whole president denying the obvious and only imploring his people to stick to fasting and prayers as far as the pandemic in that country is concerned. And that meant that he failed to, as it were, give any clear-cut direction as regards how scientifically and realistically Tanzania could, as it were, protect itself and its citizenry from COVID-19. Even those countries that rose up and stood on their feet and implemented some of those scientific and practical measures of social distancing, of keeping your, of washing your hands and all that, we still could not escape the ravaging effects of the pandemic. So how much more someone who thinks that there was nothing wrong would continue to do things the way they were doing it before the advent of the pandemic. And what it meant is that the president of Tanzania, clearly, he put the lives of the 60 million or more Tanzanians in clear danger.
Absolutely.
And that meant that he's lost his sense of leadership. And it is sad that it would have to take the death of his vice president to come to reality and accept that something different ought to be done. And what it means is that Tanzania would now have to start from scratch, trying to catch up with the rest of the world as far as the fight against the pandemic is concerned. And we are all concerned because we say that this is a pandemic. Why is it a pandemic? The carelessness of one part of the world could be the reason for which the entirety of the world cannot succeed in the fight against the pandemic. So what it means is that Tanzania should have been compelled to stick or to also get involved as far as fighting the pandemic is concerned. Because we are being told that at a time that they denied the obvious, probably following the directions of the Tanzanian president, not to engage in testing, not to engage in reporting themselves when they felt sick and all of that. Anytime any Tanzanian wanted to travel out of the country and they were subjected to compulsory testing, most of them brought out positive tests, meaning that a whole lot of people in Tanzania were carrying the virus. And if any country was not meticulous enough and allowed any one of them to enter the country, it means it was going to pose as a problem as far as the fight against COVID-19 in that country and across the globe was concerned. So I think that better late than never. It's good that he has finally come to his senses, excuse my language. And what it means is that they would come on board so that collectively, globally, we can, as it were, step on the accelerator as far as fighting this pandemic is concerned. Because we don't need to keep reminding ourselves of the effects or how much COVID-19 has affected the world globally. It is clear, it is out there for everyone to see. And even if you narrow it down to our respective countries or whatever, we all see what is happening and the effects that it has on all of us as individuals, as communities, and in our daily lives, in our workplaces, and all of that. So for a president to have been emboldened by whatever, to resort to instructing his people to only, as it were, commit to fasting and prayers in the fight against COVID-19 is something weird that some of us could not understand. But like I said, well, he has finally come to the realization that it is important for them to join the fight and help to ensure that we break the spread as far as the pandemic is concerned.
Well, thank you very, very, very much, Audu Ishak, for that succinct delivery. Let's come back home to Ghana. But for those of you who want to join in the conversation, you can do so via WhatsApp number, which is 0260846539. You can also send it as a text message. We shall read it. And for those of you who are watching on Facebook, don't forget that it's facebook.com/Pan-African Television. I'm also on Facebook, so you can connect with me on Facebook and share with me what your thoughts are. My name is Kwame Owusu Danso on Facebook, Kwame Owusu Danso on Instagram, Kwame Owusu Danso on Twitter, Kwame Owusu Danso on Clubhouse. Accept election petition outcome. Accept election petition outcome. Justice Atuguba advises Ghanaians. Delali, should we listen to the Honorable Justice? Or you think that what he's saying must be firmly grounded on something? And that if that thing is not achieved, then we must not accept the outcome of the petition. As they say, that if the law becomes unjust, people would have to make sure that the law, is subjected to unjust treatment.
I'm coming. I have read the admonishment coming from the revered former Justice of the Supreme Court. And at a point in time, he became the acting Chief Justice, and he has had the opportunity to preside over a petition of such nature. That was in 2013. And I mean, I have no doubt he has an impeccable credential when it comes to issues relating to our judiciary and his long service to this country. So I have no doubt about his credibility, his integrity, and his well of wisdom when it comes to issues of this nature. I believe that when the NDC took that decision to go to court, there was obviously two options. Either our relief will be granted or otherwise. Whatever the outcome is, I believe, knowing the personality of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, he will accept the verdict of the Supreme Court. But Kwame, what is also very instructive is the processes that leads to the final verdict is also of paramount to the good people of this country. Mm-hmm. Because results obviously are hinged on what are the processes that eventually lead to that result. All of us have had the opportunity to watch the proceedings that is currently ongoing at the apex court of the land. And I am not a lawyer, but a lot of Ghanaians have read a lot of legal piece from somebody like Professor H. Prempre. I've read, even opinions from Dr. Atta Kennedy, a founding member of the MPP. Mm-hmm. I've listened to an interview by Dr. Nyahu Tamaklo, happened to be a founding member of the MPP. Mm-hmm. Was it about yesterday or 2 days ago? I read a very thought-provoking piece from Amma Buzia, who happens to be the daughter of Professor Kwesi Abrifa Buzia. Quite very interesting piece. And these are Prima Buzia. These are people who are obviously staunch members of the New Patriotic Party. And they have basically expressed an absolute disappointment relative to what is currently going on at the Supreme Court. And they have made very fantastic legal opinion to the extent that the woman or the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, whose declaration has become a subject of controversy, that is in Article 63, Clause 3 of the 1992 Constitution, made it very categorical that the critical denominator in determining who eventually obtained the desired percentage to be declared as the President of the Republic of Ghana after month of election must obtain 50% plus 1. Madam Jane Mensah, on the 9th of December, addressed the press and made that declaration. Whether it was recorded or whether it was a live declaration, for me, it's inconsequential. What is more important to me is the total valid vote that she put out there to the listening and the hearing of the good people of this country. And she went ahead and even made a statement to the effect that, so she even proceeded and add the total valid vote or the total vote in Techiman South to that of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. It absolutely will not make any difference. That's exactly what she said. Then when the next day, there was another press release which was unsigned with another total valid vote declared by the Electoral Commission, which is entirely different from the one that she declared on the 9th of December 2020. Then when you go to the Electoral Commission website, there's another figure relative to the total valid vote. Then we have our opponent from the NPP that, oh, this is just a minor error. An error that is contrary to Article 63, Clause 3 of the 1992 Constitution cannot just be deemed as a mere error. Then subsequently, when the petitioner went to court, in paragraph 12, paragraph 24 of the first respondent, in this particular instance, the Electoral Commission boss itself, answers to the court, this time around, there was another total figure relative to the valid vote. So, this element of inconsistency that has to do with a critical denominator that determines who eventually obtain the 50% plus one cannot be relegated to the background. And Kwame, we went to court, and the first thing that we did was basically they call something, you are lawyers, you call case management or what they call pre-trial. 5 days was actually allocated for that pre-trial. When lawyer Chachichikata decided to raise certain issues that is grounded in law, the NPP were like, oh, we were trying to engage in theatrics. We are delaying what we call the court petition and what have you. And now the lexicon, the new lexicon in town, emanating from the NPP context was, oh, justice delay is justice denied. Forgetting about the fact that you cannot satisfy justice on the author of expedition. Because there's also another lexicon or axiom that says that justice harried is justice buried. So are we in court to administer justice, or we are in court to harry justice? Then the issue about interrogatory, and I asked, I'm not a lawyer, basically like lawyers, what they refer to as discovery. I mean, we have to discover certain facts, admission of facts and what have you not. And the Supreme Court in their own wisdom said, okay, fine, what we are asking is irrelevant. Then we went for what they call a review. And one of the justices of the Supreme Court said, can't lawyer like Chachichikata defer that interrogatory question and put it before the first respondent, who in her own statement of truth have admitted that this is what she said in paragraph 5. She said, the rejection of the application of the petitioner will not be injurious to the petitioner when this same question can be put before her during cross-examination. That is according to Madam Jane Mensah herself. That Justice Henrietta Bonsu at a point in time, you remember, when she told lawyer Chachichikata that, are you not trying to cross a bridge? And lawyer Chachichikata retorted that you put the bridge there. Because she said that, can't you defer the same question and asked the respondent during cross-examination, when herself in her own affidavit have admit that I will avail myself to this question. So a lot of Ghanaians are asking the simplest question that, how come, what do you call it, Madam Jane Mensah, in her own statement of truth, the statement in paragraph 5, considered that this same question can be put before her during cross-examination. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, we are told that it was their strategy all this while. How come a woman who occupied a very sensitive position, we are not talking about any civil procedure, I mean this cannot be likened to any civil suit or whatever, we are talking about something that's at the heart of it, that made somebody the president of the Republic of Ghana. They said we cannot question her, We cannot access the basis upon which he made that declaration on the 9th of December 2020. We cannot question her on what basis did she issue a statement that was not signed with a different total valid, what we call vote cast. On what basis, when you go to their website, the summary of the 275 constituency, the total valid vote is inconsistent with what she declared on the 9th, what she released in the form of a press statement on the 10th, what she published on her own website, what she submitted in a form of answer to the Supreme Court. They said we cannot question her when it comes to the inconsistency. Then that is why I keep on saying that. Maybe my dad once said to me, he said, "Delali, you know what? Sometimes common sense supersedes law." Because I cannot sit down here and fathom the basis upon which the woman who has become the center of this controversy. I probably was not there in 1992, 1996. I did not witness how election results were declared and what have you. For if I'm not mistaken, from 2004, 2008, 2012, 2016, I have not had an instances the returning officer of the Electoral Commission who have the sole mandate to make a declaration with respect to an outcome of an election will change figures more than 4 times. I've never seen it before. This is a novelty. And if we cannot probe her to ascertain the validity of that declaration that she made on the 9th of December, that press release that she issued on the 10th of December, that publication on their website, that answer that she submitted to the Supreme Court, if we cannot interrogate her and get an answer relative to the rationale behind it, then I don't know what actually happened to this country.
Are you challenging the validity or the declaration of the elections?
Kwame, in Article 63, I'm not a lawyer, in Article 63 of the 1992 Constitution. Because, for instance, once
I just asked you a very
yeah, that's what we are challenging.
I need you to respond to that before you can expand.
Exactly. That's
I'm asking you, are you challenging the validity or the declaration of the results?
We are challenging the validity of that declaration, and we are saying that based on the figures. Let me give you a classical example. If even the 127,000 total registered voters in Techiman South, per her own analogy and per her own declaration, and said, even if you add that total figure to that of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, it's inconsequential, it will not change anything. But I am telling you, when you do the mathematics and you add the 127,000 total vote in Techiman South to President Mahama, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo vote will reduce to 49%. Even when you do her
so how come that in the doc, I said in the witness box, I said Ketia was not able to allude to some of the things that you are talking about here?
Kwame,
because when they asked him to do the calculation, he did the calculation, and the calculation that he did was analogous to that which the EC had indicated in the written
you notice even in this whole Supreme Court proceedings, at a point in time, this is something, the video that is trending out there. At a point in time, lawyer Akoto Ampah had even a confrontation with lawyer, what do you call it, Frank Davis. When he told Frank Davis that we cannot confront with the Electoral Commission own figures. Why are we so scared? Why is the respondent so much scared to confront the petitioner's witness with election figures coming from the Electoral Commission? Because the point is this, that is why we made, even when we're demanding for documents, that listen, based on what we have collated, so you see, it's not even about what the NDC have collated. It's about her own declaration. That's why I'm saying that even when you strike the percentage, the total vote garnered by President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and you divide it by the denominator, that's the total valid vote of 30 million something, and multiply by 100. Kwame, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo had 50.09%. That's translated to 50% plus 1. So the question even Ghanaians are asking is this: if the Electoral Commission boss, in their own affidavits, admitted that indeed I am ready to avail myself to respond to certain questions that are very germane to this issue, why wouldn't, for the sake of justice, for the sake of posterity, allow the Electoral Commission to mount the witness box?
Yeah, but I think that, you see, what you are treading on the path of morality, I believe, as opposed to law. Because the truth is that law is based on procedure, okay? And if you want something done in court, you must necessarily base your argument on grounds that would find favor in the eyes of the judges. Because you see, all these things that you're talking about are discretionary as to whether we should allow somebody to mount the witness box or not, are discretionary. If the witness says that, if the first respondent and the second respondent say that we are closing our case on the basis of the evidence that has been adduced by the petitioner, right? Then that's it. That's a procedure.
Kwame, I agree.
So your justification for saying that the EC should mount the witness box is not grounded in any of the rules.
I get it.
That is what you should know.
Kwame,
so don't argue on the lines of emotions.
Kwame,
your counsel for the petitioner, has he been able to convince the court for the court to invoke its discretionary powers, right, to make the EC mount the witness box? I think that is the question that you should be answering.
Kwame, Kwame, when you read Article 296 of the Constitution and Article 23, the power of discretion, I believe in as much as the bench have the power to discretion, the Article 296 also made it clear that this discretion must not be exercised arbitrarily, capriciously, or whimsically. And I keep on asking the simple question. Kwame, let me just make a simple analogy. Here is a bank. You send your ward to come and cash money here. Your ward comes here and said, I have withdrawn an amount of 100,000 Ghana cedis. Then your ward comes to you in the house. Then the amount of 100,000 Ghana cedis has been reduced to 90,000 Ghana cedis. Then you came with your word that the amount of money that was brought to me is not up to 100,000. And your word said, this is the amount of money that was given. The bank said, listen, we gave your word 100,000 Ghana cedis. Kwame, and the matter went to court. And you are saying that your word mounted the witness box. You say, my lord, to clear this ambiguity or this mischief, the reason why the bank mounted a CCTV camera here is to detect things like this. Can we respectfully go into the footage of the CCTV camera to ascertain the validity of my claim or otherwise, so that at least to cure all this mischief? And the bank is resisting to it. I mean, so what I'm just simply saying is this. We can talk about all the legal, technicalities and what have you. But the point is this. Ghanaians want justice to be done. Ghanaians believe that the woman at the center of this controversy, of churning out figures that has become a subject of controversy, must be able to answer to certain things as to whether my lead counsel have really made a strong argument to warrant the Electoral Commission boss to mount the witness box. Kwame, are we also saying that the affidavit or the statement of truth filed by the Electoral Commission boss, wouldn't that alone have created wouldn't that convince the bench at the point of ruling against the interrogatory and said, okay, even like I said, even one of the members of the bench at a point in time told lawyer Tatuchikata that why don't you defer these questions to during the time of cross-examination?
Yes, but I'm saying that, what I'm saying, you are not getting it. It's a court of rule and procedure. The point, the question I'm putting across to you is that the fact that at the time when you were requested for interrogatories and a judge who is definitely not the lead counsel for the respondent suggested to you that you could have waited until the witness mounted the witness box before you could put those questions across, does not mean that the counsels are precluded from closing their case. At the time, the case was not closed. At the time, there was a real possibility that if arguments were advanced, then the witness of the first petitioner, the first respondent, could have mounted the witness box. And those questions could have been put to her in the witness box. So at the time, there was no contention. Now there's a bigger contention. The contention here is that the respondent, on the basis of the petitioner's witness, witnesses who mounted the witness box, i.e. your General Secretary, Roger Metonunu, and then Pesa White, they have closed their case. The court is saying that the witness statement that was, put forward by the first and second respondents, right, on the basis of the closure of their case, qualifies as a testimony. That is the whole argument.
No, I get it.
The argument that you are seeking to suggest is that oral evidence is given in court to buttress witness statements that have been given.
Yeah.
But there must be a justification. Unless you are saying that the witness statement that has been put forward by the respondent is not true. You understand? Mm-hmm. But if you admit that it is true, and that because there's always a statement of truth that has to be written. You were mentioning statement of truth. Statement of truth always must be written. That I so and so certify that everything that I've written here is the truth, and that I know that if I am telling a lie to the court, I can be cited for contempt. So everything there is a truth on the basis of, on the face of the document. Supposedly, yes. Mm-hmm. But that's the law. That's the point I'm making, that you should not be arguing on the basis of emotions. Argue on the basis of the law and convince the justice. You are talking about fairness, you are talking about capricious and all of that. Who determines what fair is? Who determines what capricious is? What determines that is the law. So have you convinced the the justices on the bench that you hold superior argument, and therefore the chairperson of the Electoral Commission should man the witness box? That's a question.
Good.
That's a question.
That's why I give you a classical example relative to what transpired in the strong room. The Electoral Commission boss, in her response, said this: what the witness of the petitioner is saying never happened. The petitioner would say it did indeed happen. So how do we cure this?
Good. So and then now, because they've closed their case, Mr. Enoch, can you listen to me? Because they've closed their case, it means that they have adopted your evidence as their evidence. So they say that, okay, that's it. We accept what you are saying. We have closed our case. That's what they are saying.
No, but
so you cannot now come back and say that no. You don't have to accept what we are saying. No, you open your defense.
No, but you remember the issue about the petitioner's witness. The issue about the video, that there's 5-minute video that can be played. You remember it was turned down. You remember? Once it was turned down, how can it be a basis of evidence? Because at the end of the day, that particular video that was meant to cure that mischief was turned down. Because there was a controversy. They said this transpired. The respondents said it never transpired. That's why I gave you the analogy about the CCTV camera. So why don't you play it? And it was turned down. What was the basis of the turn down?
And I'm saying that a question was asked Rojo Metilunu. Yeah. Sorry. A question was asked Pesa White. Yeah. That what does it mean to not sign the final sheet? Well, how do they call it? They declare the final sheet. How do they call it? In the strong room, in their strong room.
Yeah, the submission.
What does it mean to not sign? Yeah. And does once they fail to sign, does it mean that it nullifies the entire elections? He said no. You understand? Yeah. So the question then becomes, does his leaving the strong room at the time affect the outcome of the elections, which have been signed by all the other political parties who were present?
Look, if I may come in, I think that declaration form.
Yeah, the declaration form.
Yeah, the declaration form is being disputed.
Exactly, Form 13.
The Form 13 is being
by
disputed.
Dr. Pesa White.
Because he said that they are saying that what is in the law, the specimen in the law, is not what the judge
presented
showed.
To Dr. Pesa White.
So there's a dispute there.
Exactly.
And it must be cleared.
So how do we clear that
finish with him before I come
you understand? When Justice Tokoni or something, I stand to be corrected, one of the female, her lordship, presented a Form 13 with her, as far as she's concerned, that was Form 13. Her ladyship. And Dr. Pesa White disputed it. Mm-hmm. Said this is not the Form 13. Mm-hmm. So how do we dispute it? Who made those evidence, who made those documents available to the bench?
Did the signing or otherwise of Pesa White?
The signing of what?
No,
the signing of what?
No,
the signing of
what? Pesa admitted that they were supposed to sign some
precisely,
and he decided not to sign.
And there was no space for them to indicate the reason why they didn't sign.
No, he gave an example. He gave a reason why they did not sign it.
That's the point I'm making.
Wait, that they were not there. Uh-huh. You understand? Uh-huh. So the question is, what did they not sign? Because what is being shown in evidence as they having not signed is this being disputed as not legal, as not the real document which they should have signed.
And then, you see, but granted that all that you are saying is true, the council for EC and the second respondents are saying that, okay, we will go with what you are saying.
Yeah.
That you didn't sign, no problem.
Yeah.
But the fact that you didn't sign does not nullify the votes.
Why not?
Why should it?
Because it is part of the processes.
Because the question was asked. No. The question was asked.
The question was asked.
Yes. But in cross-examination, they asked him a question.
The question was asked.
But Professor White is not the arbiter of the law.
The question
was just a witness.
But the question was asked.
Kwame, the question was
if you fail to sign the declaration sheet.
Indicate the reason.
Declaration sheet?
No, hold on. If you fail to sign the declaration sheet, for instance, or even if you were not in the strong room, and others have signed, right?
Yes.
Your failure to sign does not affect the outcome of the elections, because others have agreed with the outcome of the elections.
Even if they have signed the wrong sheet.
Because
no, even if they have signed the wrong sheet.
You have signed the wrong sheet.
You are talking about procedure.
And they are saying
that you have signed the wrong sheet. Not the sheet that you are supposed to. You have signed something that
you and I do not really know that.
Oh, come on.
Kwame, it was admitted.
You and I do not really know that. Mr. Aneku, let me come to you and then I'll come to Isha.
Yeah, I didn't want to go into the nitty-gritties.
Oh, no, but he has not even gone into the nitty-gritty.
Yes.
He's speaking to issues that have already been decided upon.
Yes, but the truth of the matter is that, let's be very frank, the Supreme Court is a political institution. You understand? And law is not outside the mainframe of the political regime or the political framework of our country. You understand? When you talk of discretion, is discretion outside law? Is discretion just somebody's own personal wishes? Or it must be grounded in law? And when we talk of law, is law hanging, or law must be based upon common sense, the common sense of the people which that law is supposed to govern their relationships, either amongst themselves or with property or with the environment. Law is not some esoteric something which hangs in the air. It must be real, and we must see it. It is actually legislated by human beings, for human beings. You understand? Look, you talked about the interrogatories. Was there an appeal against, in the case management study thing, in making sure that the interrogatories are put in the witness, in the this thing, how do you call it? The questions being asked of the respondents? Yes. Was it thrown out? Yes, it was thrown out. Everything which has been done has been decided for by the justices. You understand? So you can't use subterfuge to reach a certain stage and say that, oh, okay, I won't talk. How do you adjudicate? You adjudicate by listening to both sides. If she won't talk on the basis of what she has submitted as a witness to ask statements to elucidate on it, then she might as well withdraw what she has submitted as a witness statement.
Well, she should.
And why not? Because she's not willing to speak to it.
But she's written to you that that's
no. But you, and why shouldn't I have the right to ask you to further elaborate on it? What I don't understand. And that can only be done when you get into the witness box. But you see, in our traditional setup, one say, the two parties come, and the two parties present their case, and we ask the two parties the questions. Why is it that one party is refusing to go into the witness box? And we have been told that procedure and techniques, it is a trick in order for them to put the burden of proof on the other party alone. I mean, in order to establish a burden of proof, don't you have to listen to the two sides? In any case, I think that, lawyer, you have this famous maxim of autumn pardon. And I suppose that's why we have 2 years. You listen to both sides. So why should you listen to only one side?
Fair hearing.
Why should you listen to one side and base your judgment on one side? Why not on both sides?
But one person elected to orally support their written, evidence.
Weren't they asked by the bench to present their witnesses?
But you see, what you need to know is that the witness statement must be served on the petitioners, and the petitioner's response must be served on the witness. So it's not as though it's a secret.
So why
process.
So why were witnesses called? What was the what was the essence of Asiedu Nketia then going to the board?
Because they are proving, they are alleging.
So what?
They are alleging that a wrong has occasioned, for which reason they believe that Nana Danko Akufo-Addo did not get 50+1 votes.
Yes.
So they need to prove beyond all reasonable doubt that indeed that happened.
Yes, okay. In order for them to prove beyond all reasonable doubt, they need certain public documents. Those documents do not belong to Nana Akufo-Addo. Neither does those documents belong to, what's her name, the EC chairperson. It belongs to the people of Ghana.
Yeah, but they have documents.
No.
Pictures,
the document is a public document. It is not a personal document.
But they are seized with that document.
No. They have not been given that document. Duplicates are not the same as originals.
Yeah, but there's a case that says...
No. I'm coming. See, duplicates are not... Hold on.
Okay.
Duplicates are not the same as originals. So why are the justices striving very hard to prevent public documents from being put out in open court?
I think it would be unfair to say that justices are striving very hard. I think that
all the judgments, is it judgments, they've given on the applications and everything has tended to show that they have taken a decision that no public document shouldn't be shown, which is not right. 2, the public officer should not be questioned, which is not right to me. You see, the truth of the matter is that the ultimate judges, and that's answering Mr. Justice Atugube's thing, the ultimate judges of whether the outcome is right or is wrong will be we the people. As for accepting the law, who says apartheid law was accepted at a certain time, but it was fought against? And who says that the Constitution doesn't allow that if the judges say that it is A, if I disagree, I can't go onto the street within the confines of the law. I can't propagate, I can't convince other people that this is wrong. Let's clear this government out through legal means, and later on clear out the judges through legal means out of their chambers because they have done the wrong thing. And who says that the judges are gods? They are no gods. They are human beings like us. Some of them, we all sat in the same classroom with them. You understand? And the truth of the matter is that it is we, the people, that sovereignty resides in, not in the courts, not in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court does not elect the people, the regime or the president. It is the people who elect the president. They only adjudicate on the basis of law. And if they are not doing it right, we have seen it before several times. If they are not doing it right, it can be fought against. Laws in the United States of America which promoted segregation, which promoted colored bars and all those things were fought against. They are still being fought against even up to today. So don't not let us create the judges like they are that your God in Mankesim, what's the name? Nanan Monpo. What's the Nanan Monpo? Nipa Noye. It is human beings who make up Nanan Monpo. Supreme Court, it is human beings. And human beings can be fallible, even in the face of the interpretation of the law. And let's be very frank. For me, I have not been confident about what has gone on. I'm not NDC. I'm not MPP. I'm CPP. But the truth of the matter is that the law is for all of us. The law is not discriminatory on the basis of the parties. We do not want things to be done which will erode confidence in the political system of our country. Because we have seen it before. We have seen the consequences of an illegal overthrow of the constitutional order. An illegal overthrow of the constitutional order has either been influenced from outside, like it was in 1966, or it has been internal, like in 72, internal, like in 79, internal, like in 81. And we have to live with the consequences now. So when you are in public office, the office is for the public, irrespective of which party the person belongs to. You understand? And you must be seen to be fair. You must be, public officers must be seen to be accountable. You can only be accountable if you are questioned. I even heard that some people were saying that why should people go before the appointments committee? The United States, where we take all inspiration from, aren't the secretaries of the various positions being questioned in the Congress? They are, but the Senate. So what is wrong with we doing that? And who says that we can't question the justices? Look, appropriating certain extraordinary powers to some few group of people. If you say that you are in contempt of court and all, they are dictatorial, anachronistic, colonial nonsense, which must be done away with. Which must be done away with. Why is it that if you criticize the president, that is not contempt? But if you criticize a judge, it's contempt. Who is the judge? Is he an extraordinary being? Does he have an extraordinary information which we all do not have, or knowledge for that matter? No. Look, even in the English judicial system, they have jurors.
Yeah.
Why? The jurors, are they judges?
No.
Because the people, the ordinary people, have a right to judge their peers. So we shouldn't create some extraordinary scenario of some people who will come and elect our presidents for us. No, I don't agree to that.
Mr. Heneku, thank you very much. And how is Jack?
Theodi.
The young Chagru.
Well, by the grace of Allah. Mm-hmm. Well, Kwame, I think that all this pans out from the admonition by the revered Justice Atuba, advising Ghanaians to, as it were, accept the outcome of the election petition. And I'm not sure that Justice Atuba could have said anything apart from this. But you see, one thing that is clear and unambiguous as far as this election petition currently ongoing is concerned is the fact that a lot of Ghanaians have shown interest in it. And the justices, our revered justices, whom we refer to as our lords, have, as it were, indicated what they think about the process or the procedure in court. And Kwame, as a lawyer to be, you know that these justices, or the judges for that matter, they are supposed to administer the law on behalf of the people of Ghana, or the country for that matter. And when people go to the court and they take oaths, and it's because we want to attach a certain kind of importance to whatever will take place in that court. And so far, public opinion is deep-seated as far as this election petition is concerned. And what excites me is the fact that public people who try to politicize, or as it were, to a certain partisan line, when you speak to them backstage, confidently they tell you that they themselves are not even enthused about what is going on.
Yeah, that's true.
But it is difficult for them to express themselves against the position that has always been taken by the justices of the Supreme Court, because they think that politically they may be ostracized by their own parties. And I ask myself, why should we think that everything should be about partisanship? Come, you see, in 2013, there were instances that the ruling went either ways. Either the ruling went for in favor of the petitioners, or it went in favor of the respondents. It happened in 2013. But at the end of the day, when the Supreme Court passed its final judgment on the case, it also had to go in favor of somebody. It went in favor of the petitioners. You understand? The respondents. The petitioners then said, of course, they agree with the ruling, but they accept the ruling, but they don't agree with the judgment, or what I guess you understand. But in this particular instance, how can somebody go to court? And throughout, I know it is possible, but like Mr. Henoku said, some of the things are so practical, some of the things are easy to understand, even for people who are not lawyers. Not to talk of people who have gotten to that high standard of being justices. You understand? You cannot understand why they will say that, yes, we have been given duplicates. But those duplicates, why is it called a duplicate? It is a product of something. So give us that thing that produced these duplicates, so that we'll do our cross-checking. How difficult is that? The pink sheets, they are public documents. And when somebody comes to say that the NDC, they were given the pink sheets at the polling station. So are they saying that as a member of the PNC, as I said, an executive of the PNC took part in the elections, but we are not resourceful enough to have, as it were, appointed polling agents for all the polling stations across the country.
That's true.
So are you saying that because we do not have polling agents in all the 33,000 or so, 31,000 or so polling stations, if I want some information from the Electoral Commission, I cannot apply for the Electoral Commission to be compelled by a certain procedure in court to make those documents available? It's a public document. And when we're in a country where we have passed the right to information bill into law, and even with that one, we are hiding behind legal gymnastics to do the kinds of things that we are doing in court. I think that the Supreme Court is allowing a certain kind of how do I term it? The confidence in it to be waning. Because when you speak to a lot of people on the streets, they tell you that that's for this one. We think that it is going in a certain manner that we ourselves we do not understand. Of course, somebody can cheekily say that you can't understand because you are not a lawyer. Just like you trying to distinguish yourself from us because you have a legal background. When we speak our common sense, you want us to understand that it's about law. But law, like Mr. Hinoku said, is not some homunculus kind of kind of thing that people cannot break down to understand for themselves. Most of the things that the NDC or the petitioners ask for in court are things that easily could have been done. You understand? Look, after the election petition in 2013, the testimony of Afarijan in the witness box was the basis upon which the Charlotte Osei-led Electoral Commission instituted certain measures at the Electoral Commission that ensured that in 2016 we had that kind of seamless transition we had an election that everybody came to accept that indeed it was a free, fair, transparent, and credible election because of what transpired in 2013. Now, we have a new electoral commissioner. She has a certain mandate to discharge. What is wrong with Madam Jean Mensah mounting the witness box? What is wrong? Kwame, you are a lawyer. Excuse my language. Now, we even know that for the sake of public interest, the court itself can even call people who are not connected in any way to the case to come and supply the court some kind of evidence of information that would enrich.
Yeah, those are part of the civil process.
It happens. So how much more somebody like the electoral commissioner, who has got a lot to do with the case of the petitioners?
We call them the litigant friend.
Why? Why are we doing this? Of course, these issues of the tendency for people to be cited for contempt and all of that, we are wary of it. But sometimes you cannot hold back. You just have to express yourself as regards what you see happening. Because, like I keep saying, by virtue of what we do, people even take a phone and call you. Charlie, this case, how is it going? How do you see it? And all of that. Because they know that you are a young man, you are into politics, you are coming up, you've had the opportunity of probably discussing this case with people of a certain people of a certain background and experience. You understand? And that's why I keep saying that. When you speak to people and they express themselves, they express their opinions, their views, just as laymen, then you get to understand that public confidence in the Supreme Court now, relative to what is happening, Kwame, for me, is fast waning. It is fast, and these are not people who have an interest in John Mahama or the NDC. No, these are people who just avert their minds to what is happening in court, and they apply their own common sense. They are not partisan, they are not political.
A reverend minister called me yesterday. He asked the very questions that you are asking. That does not mean that on the basis of that which has been ruled on by the court already, a public officer cannot be called upon to account to the people. The guy asked me, says, so what do we do? Yeah. I said, I don't know.
So
okay, I think Supreme Court is up. It's coming up.
So for me, Kwame, we may not, as Supreme, have any basis to reject the outcome of the election petition at the Supreme Court. But of course, within us, within our mindset, within the public, people that form a certain opinion about the court.
Right.
And these justices, they are not people that people do not know. They are with us. So it's about their own reputation. It's about the kind of a mindset that people will have about them as regards what mandate they ought to discharge on behalf of the people of God.
Thank you very, very much, my brother Owusu. I'm told the court has started. Has it? The proceedings have started? Yes? Okay, so Mr. Hanako, thank you very much for your time this morning. Thank you to you, my friend and brother Delali Sawapo. Thank you to the communications director of the PNC, Owusu. Thank you very, very much. Thank you for watching today's edition of Good Morning Africa. My name is Kwame Owusu. So let me apologize to you for not being able to read your messages. I was going to do that. I thought we were going to close at 10 and I would have done that. But because we have to go to the Supreme Court, it's important that I, take you there right away. So thank you for watching today's edition of Good Morning Africa. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Do have a pleasant day. Bye-bye.